Hey everybody, thank you for joining today. So back with another video. In today's video, I'm going to talk about uh, studying with Jehovah's Witnesses. So this was actually requested by someone uh, who found me on social media and said that they were studying with Jehovah's Witnesses and said, "Would you do a video about that?" And I thought about it. At first, I was like, I didn't respond because I was like, I kind of grew up in it, so I don't know what I have to say about that. But I thought about it more, and actually, I think it's a good subject to cover, and especially for people who are studying. I'll talk about it a little bit. I don't think this will be a very long video, so we'll get into it. So, like I said, I grew up in the organization basically. I did study with a couple people over the years, mainly because, like I have said in a past video, my mom, who I was raised by, was an inactive witness as when I was a child. I can remember a time when she was active and or at least going to meetings. Um, but yeah, by the time I was old enough to I can remember when that transition happened and she kind of stopped, but I still had a lot of relatives, and we had relatives who lived like just up the road from us and different things. So I would often be taken to the meetings by somebody. Um, I was I did study with a few. I remember very well studying with an elder who was in the original congregation that I grew up in, and I hated it. I was pretty young. I don't know how old I was for sure. Um, I was probably like 8, 9, 10 years old, somewhere in there. But I mean, it's like you had to go to school, you had homework, we were already I was all I at least I was after even after my mom stopped, I was still going to, usually the Sunday meeting, usually the midweek meeting, sometimes the book study. um so it was just a lot as a kid, and then to have to prepare for a study with an elder on a different night during the week after that. Besides all of that, it was I remember I just hated that. Um, but one thing I'll say, if you are studying as a witness now, or studying with a witness now, they very much want you to get into the organization. That is the whole point of a study. Witnesses are deceptive. They're like they're salespeople for the organization, basically. And so they'll first, you'll express interest when they come to your door and maybe give you a little pamphlet or a brochure or a magazine. And then they will come back and with the hope of getting a Bible study. And then they want that to progress to baptism to bring you into the organization. If you, I remember growing up, people would say, "Oh, you witnesses you go around just trying to convert people to your religion," and you were taught to be like, "No, that's not what we're doing. We're just sharing Bible truths, and if you want to become a witness, it's up to you." So like typical like salesperson tactics, and that is what they do to you. Um, and the probably the most disturbing thing about it all is it would be one thing if they just went around trying to find people who maybe wanted to become a Jehovah's Witness, but you're also taught that um, people who are going through a very difficult emotional time are probably more receptive to what you're saying to them. So, for example, if somebody just lost a close family member, a close friend, and they express that when you go to their door and give. So, a big Jehovah's Witness teaching is like resurrection and everlasting life after that. So, I can't tell you how many times I had been out in the ministry with people, which is what we would call when we would be in a car going door to door, and somebody would go and talk to someone, and I was guilty of this too. I'm not saying I didn't do it. I know I did. But you would get somebody at the door that you had this presentation that was like, did you know that like people who you love that died will be resurrected and they'll live forever and you'll live forever and you may never even have to die. And they would say, and then they would share like this very emotional story about how they just lost their spouse or children or close friend or or a relative, close relative. And you would go back to the car that you were in and with other witnesses after you just went to that door, you'd be like, this is amazing. It's the best. I'm going to return visit here. I bet they'll join. I mean, I didn't say I bet they'll join, but it was like you just had this hope of, but that was in the back of your mind, like, oh, you know, they're going to buy what we're selling, basically. And yeah. And it's sad because even though I would love to believe that all of that is true, I don't know. And to say you would know that for sure is a lie. Um, I like to believe that there's something after we leave this world, but I don't know. Um, I was brought up just constantly told and taught that by family members and people in the congregation that there's something besides this life, but I believe in trying to make yourself as happy as you can in this life and, doing the best with what you can now and being a good person, uh, you know, and that's all we can do for now. And I don't know what the future brings. If if it means I die and this is all that there is, fine. I believe I'll just be conscious of nothing. But if there is something beyond this, whether it be heaven or here on earth or whatever, I don't know. Since I've left the witnesses, that's kind of something I'm on. So I'm on like my own personal Bible study right now. I don't I don't know. And I'm not willing to put any opinions of my own out there about that. I believe faith is a very personal thing. Um, Good for you if you're trying to connect with God and be a good person and just keep doing that. And that's what I'm trying to do. And that I think that's all we can do. I am certain at this point that Jehovah's Witnesses do not have the truth. And I would not recommend studying with them. But again, personal decisions. Yeah, that's all I have to say right now. So I thank you for watching today. Take care, everybody. Have a good day. Take care.